I mean, I'm notorious for
Nobody cleans their cooler, right?
leaving something in a cooler until the next time I use it 2 years later and going, God dang it.
And no microbial film is going to help you on that one.
No.
You're just toast.
Plastics has a bad name to it. We all know that. We hear it in the news cycles all the time about microplastics, and it's in people's bloodstreams. It's, getting on turtles' nose, the straw up the turtle's nose. Everybody knows that one. The ones that's around dolphins' noses. I mean, you can go on and on about it. So,
and we're not making light of it. That there is
absolutely not
a ton of plastic out there.
Yeah, it's terrible.
We're having to give a baseline of, hey, remember this headline? That's what we're talking about.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's all legitimate things to worry about. I don't like seeing that stuff on the side of the road and seeing that stuff in the headlines. I think it's a serious problem, and most individuals in the plastic world would agree, and it's a big initiative for somebody to find something that's going to work out in the world today. So to replace those one-time uses or reducing the amount of plastic, what have you. So yeah, I think my initial reach out was just a shot in the dark. I just learned about some hemp polypropylene, which it was basically a blend of polypropylene and some hemp fiber and hemp oil to reduce the petrochemical base of it. So since that, I have been on the search for any alternative out in the world that can replace these. And in my line of business, I have to anyway. I'm in the airline industries, and they have a huge initiative to reduce waste. It's in their top 3 goals over the next 5 to 10 years. So it behooves me to go find it anyway from a financial incentive, but even from a conservation standpoint, I don't like seeing trash alongside the road.
You're also a big nature guy. You love the outdoors. I mean, you are a steward of your own land and your own farm.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And it just looks gross. It's just not good. So I've been on the search I'm waiting for that day for it to pop where something comes out. But aside from like some new crazy custom formula that.
And just so we're clear, it is out there, but currently it's not meeting our tolerances for our product.
Right.
And for us in particular.
Well, no, because you've got a reusable product, right? So you've got something that has to last. So the hemp didn't really work out for us, but we looked at other alternatives, which would be reprocessed material, which is an alternative to virgin polypropylene. So not only are you reusing your products and your customers are not just reusing your products, but we're also reusing material that was otherwise going to go into a landfill.
And let's dispel a couple of myths here. So for instance, we do use some recycled product for our black trays.
Right.
But it's industrial recycled. Like we're basically, if you guys make a bunch of our stuff and we go from orange to green, there's that purge, and in the middle it's unusable product. That product gets reground in a regrinder right there in the factory and goes right back into a bin that then gets mixed up with whenever we run black trays. So it has never left the facility.
Right.
And it's basically the same exact thing that we would have used anyway, versus a lot of people think about recycled plastics. It's very hard to sort this. We don't know what country it's coming from. We don't know what it was used for before. It's all mixed up.
So you've got post-industrial regrind and you've got post-consumer regrind, or PCR, PIR is what we call it. So the post-industrial, because we will use post-industrial regrind for you guys as well, but they source that directly from a facility that may only use one material. So all of their rejects, all of their regrind, they sell it to this compounder, and then they isolate that, run that through their machine, their extruder, do the whole thing, cut it up, and then send it to us. So it's very traceable about where that's coming from. Post-consumer, that stuff, it's incredible what they're doing. One, it's more expensive, and if you ever walk in and watch them go through their process, you'd understand why. Two, it can kind of stink. I'm sure you've probably seen that before, where you open up a box and you're like, what is that smell? Well, they're pulling diapers, they're running diapers, they're running food containers that have been in the trash for months and sorting through bales to find that post-consumer regrind that works for their process. But the post-industrial regrind is very traceable. This isn't stuff that's coming from all over the world. They have a few plants that they buy from, and they know exactly, they've got spec sheets of what they were using.
It's basically certifiable.
This
is what it is.
Very certifiable, and then at the end of that, they'll go through their own tests to make sure that they're hitting all the mechanical properties that they need to hit in order to sell it. So we get a spec sheet every time. It differs every load that comes in slightly, but it's within 5% of every. Now, when you go to virgin, you're getting a 1% tolerance, whereas post-industrial, you're getting 2 to 5%.
Let's go back to the original question that I had at the top of the podcast. What are we trying to solve with these alternatives? And that's going to be project by project.
Yeah, we're trying to reduce new material entering landfills at the end of the day. That's what we're trying to do. I think where it's applicable, using industrial regrind is great. Using PCR is great. And then you can get into the bios that are emerging into the markets today. Everybody has probably heard about PLA, which is, you got to be careful because there's a lot of greenwashing out there too. And I'm probably the bad guy in plastics to use that term for this type of stuff, but a lot of the bios out there right now are greenwashed. It sounds good, it sounds great. You're taking the petrochemical aspect out of it. You're not using a petro base, you're using a bio base, but it's still going to last a long time in the environment.
And I think where some of that comes from is a lot of these will say, these are compostable. And to somebody that's not educated on it, I can throw it in my compost bin and it'll break down in a few months, but it doesn't. A lot of that stuff, it has to go to an industrial composter to hit very high temperatures and to process it correctly, which there's very few of those. Yeah, it could be, but are you close to it?
We've talked about infrastructure in the manufacturing world and being a little bit lacking, but emerging. That's something that is lacking tremendously. Our recycling program in the United States just is not up to par of what the rest of Europe, I should say, not the rest of the world, what Europe is.
Has the tool makers, the people that are making the molds, has that kind of caught up to that technology in that, are these consistently moldable without, like can you hit a full production run of high production without a great increase in bad parts?
It depends.
Because you hear it's plant. A lot of this is plant-based.
Yeah.
And if it's plant-based, that means there's inherent fluctuations in the way a plant grows. There could be a drought. There could be too much water. Mm-hmm. Every load is going to be different.
Yeah. It's gotten pretty consistent. The problem is it's not a drop-in for like a polypropylene. And that's where we're running into issues with molders is change is tough, right? Nobody likes change. When you've been doing something for 30, 40 years, nobody wants to try something out. Well, it's just not working. Well, we haven't really given it a shot, have we? So, yes.
Think about what you're asking two different groups of people to do to try that out. In essence, you're asking a company to likely buy a new mold to run this new product line that could be a different finish, it could be inconsistent parts, it could be inconsistent mechanical advantages. You're now investing at minimum $100,000 into a mold.
Yeah.
Then you're tying up what you could be running anyway.
Making money.
Yeah. And then if it goes out to the consumers, and you start getting a bunch of 1-star reviews, or I'm never buying compostable again, or now you're tarnishing it for anybody else
Or
trying to do it.
this doesn't compost.
Yeah, I mean it's not only bad business for you right now, even though you're trying to do good, but it leaves a sour taste in the consumers who now will never try that for anything that comes out, even if there is significant advances in a few years from now.
Yeah, back when we, a few episodes earlier, we talked about a specific job that I'm working on where we're 95% of the way there. That
Real quick,
Yeah.
folks. So we're recording these as standalone episodes. So I'm totally fine that you said that, but if you haven't heard that yet, it's likely not have come out. I just want to get that out there, and we're recording this again to get Calvin and I in one spot over a day or so is very hard. So we're just batching these up at this point.
Yeah. So in one of the other episodes, we talked about a project where we're about 95% of the way there with our material. Talking about, I'm not going to go into specifics on it, but we're 95% of the way there as far as how we want it to act, right? I'm not going to release that till we're 99%. So just to add to that, like to your point, I'm not going to go to a molder and just be like, hey, I need you to trial all the, I'm not going to ask you to do a 2-week trial on this product.
The financial implications of it's crazy. But that's why there's test labs out there.
Yeah, and I've seen 2-week trials. I've seen month-long trials where that press is just hanging that one tool to get it qualified to go into production. So we're trying to do all the back end work and work with our labs to get some of this to the point where we're ready to go to a molder and say, hey, I need you to sample this for me.
We're going to talk a lot about, speaking of future episodes, the notion that for every decision you make in the injection molding process, there's a trade-off. And now when we're looking at some of these alternatives, which look, there's a lot of reasons to do this. I mean, it's better for the environment. If you're trying to have a sustainable or a social justice type component to your company, this is a good way to do that. But we're also trading off, hey, we want this to eventually break down. At the same time, we need it strong enough to do
hold up.
Sometimes a very temporary job, like a drinking cup at an event.
Yeah.
And sometimes it could be, I don't know what a mid-range look would be. And I don't want to pigeonhole all alternatives are just for silverware and plates.
Yeah. No. Well, again, a great alternative is just reusing what's out there already. So we've actually had some airlines do like a buyback program where they retire trays every, couple years, where they'll actually maybe not buy them back, but they'll ask that they return those at a recycling location where they'll grind those back up and get it back into the funnel.
Last thing we'll kind of touch on is the antimicrobial aspects of some of this. We kind of talked a little bit about it in the last episode, in which we talked about zinc is a common additive. It does have antimicrobial properties, but I know this is a big kind of a passion project for you. You've come to us several times about it. So let's dive into that.
Yeah, I mean, it all came up during COVID. Obviously, it was a very hot topic at that point. A lot of touch point surfaces. We actually developed basically a sticker that can go on your push bars for bathrooms and whatnot. But yeah, it's just a simple additive, 1% let down across the entire part. So very minimal. It's not like you see metal flakes in there. But there's a lot of times you'll see this antimicrobial in like coolers, right? Stuff that's just going to be subjected to high growth areas. So coolers, I mean, I'm notorious for
nobody cleans their cooler, right?
Leaving something in a cooler until the next time I use it 2 years later and going, God dang it.
And no microbial film is going to help you on that one.
No.
You're just toast.
But it's just a cool little additive that you're able to use in certain situations. If you think like water fountains, a lot of those push buttons, even though a lot of people have gone away from the push buttons, a lot of those high touch surfaces.
Well, everybody's carrying around their own water tower these days.
Yeah, that specific company has gone to the refillable stations anyway. So talking about not bringing more plastics into the world, that's one initiative, we've seen too, is everybody carries their own water.
Yeah, I don't know what people in my generation used to do. I mean, I don't know how we're still alive.
I think you just went to the stream in the back.
Yeah, man. We just, every time it rained, we just went up
Just
and
open
looked
your
up.
mouth.
And so, all right. The next episode, we're going to start covering compliance issues and what, if you're going into food, medical, aerospace, some of those certifications, what that means. See you then.